Yes, yes.
I said that too. I said that too loud. I said that too loud.
Or you bring them both, your work wife
Yeah.
and Tammy.
Yes. Perfect.
I'm the work wife now. I like it.
I don't know.
Do you love the outdoors?
Do you love to travel?
Do you love finding hidden treasures in towns all over the USA? Hi, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Craig, and welcome to Treasures of Our Town, the podcast that takes you on a journey to explore the unique and charming towns scattered throughout the United States.
Join us as we venture into some of the country's most intriguing destinations, uncovering hidden gems and secrets along the way.
Josh, on today's episode, we're going to chat to some very clever Germans and how they use Adventure Labs to create wonderful experiences for their guests.
I'm so excited about that. And you might be noticing that our voices are extra low.
Yours
because-
probably more so than mine.
Yeah, you've probably been up a bit. Yeah, I'm looking through your blinds right now, and I see light.
Yes.
I'm looking through my blinds, and I see darkness
And it's not even winter time.
because it is 6 a.m. here.
Yeah.
Because-
and 7 a.m. here on the East Coast.
Because, you know, we wanted to make it convenient for our German friends.
Yes, this is what we do for our guests. Exactly what we do for our guests. So,
Of
Josh,
course.
today we're talking about Adventure Labs. Now, for
Yes.
those who don't know what an Adventure Lab is, would you like to explain it?
Sure. So, Adventure Labs are another location-based game that is connected to geocaching. And basically, it often is virtual locations, not like physical geocaching containers. And it usually takes you on some sort of multi-stage adventure where the person that hit it can tell a story or tell about the history of that location.
Yeah.
And it's simply a separate app on your smartphone. It is free. There are 5 locations, sometimes 10 locations.
Yeah.
And what we love about them, Craig, is that they guide our travel. They're like little
Yes.
tour guides in a game. And so today we are talking about gamifying your travel.
Exactly. And they could even be our personal app, Josh, because they're Treasures of Our Town. That's what we do. We use location-based games to guide our travel, and that's what this does too. So it's a separate app itself. And some people are geocachers. Predominantly geocachers use this app, but you don't have to be a geocacher to use the app, Josh.
Yeah, I really think this is a great entry point into location-based gaming for people who maybe have never experienced, you know, geocaching or Pokemon Go or munzee or anything like that. This is very accessible. If
Yeah.
if you want to go to an area and see some of like the cool spots that maybe people don't know about or a historical spot and actually learn about it, it is like an actual tour guide. Sometimes they unlock videos, like you get to location and it shows a video about the location. Like it is a really cool tool
Exactly.
to enhance your travel.
And let's be honest too, there are variances because these are all done by other players of the game. They're not done by a professional company. It's all done by other players of the game. So there's variances in terms of quality, variances in terms of what you like and how you like to play. I mean, there's some out there, Josh, that you just literally sit in a parking lot, a car park, and just go tap, 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 tap. And, you know, those sort of ones, to me, they're more on the lower end of the scale. But then you got the higher end ones, as you said, Josh, that take you to places that you ordinarily go to, or they show you videos of locations as well. And we'll get to those too after we speak to Eric and Daniel. We'll get to our favorite ones after we speak to them.
Yeah,
What do you
that
think?
sounds great. And so we are going to now speak to my friend Daniel Pflieger, who is from Hanover, Germany, who has several geocaching companies. And we're going to talk to one of his partners, Eric, who is involved with an amusement park in Germany called Karls, and how they have used Adventure Labs to enhance their guest experience.
And we put a disclaimer on this too, Josh, because we are pretty much an American-based podcast. We are talking to 2 Germans that are in Germany and have done this in Germany, but it's available in the USA. For those who don't know, this is fully available, and let's be honest, Josh, too, it is thriving in the USA at the moment.
Yes.
And we'll get to that at the end of the show as well in terms of which ones are our favorites, which ones we like to do, different ones. Josh, there's series out there too, and there's plenty of series, more than just 1 or 2. there's like a few hundred different series out there as well.
All right, we are here with my two friends. I'm going to call them my two friends, Daniel Pflieger and Eric, how do you pronounce your last name? Straub? Straub?
I'm privileged to hear my name in English, so please do it however you want. American.
I guess
in
so.
American
This is an
accent.
English podcast, so we have Daniel Pflieger, who is I don't even know what I would have your title be. I don't even know your title, Daniel. You are a geocaching extraordinaire, and we have Eric from the Karls amusement park. But Daniel, for those that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name is Daniel, as you mentioned before. I'm 39 years old. I don't need an e-bike yet, but I don't judge a lot. I'm doing geocaching since 15 years now, and I do it on a professional base since 13 years. I run a geocaching based company. We do geocaching based team events, incentives, and stuff. We have a geocaching travel agency, Reisen, and we have a geocaching marketing agency where we build geocaches, geotours, and adventure labs for customers, like, for example, cities or stores or amusement parks like Karls, which is the best amusement park in the whole world, as far as I can tell.
It is pretty fantastic. I've been there as well. And
is.
speaking of Karls, we have Eric with us. Eric,
We
what
do.
is your role at Karls?
Hello, I'm Eric from Rövershagen. So my role at Karls, I'm an assistant to our CEO, Robert Dahl. It's also the founder of the amusement parks. And I'm also a project manager for special projects, for little projects, big projects. I'm app development supervisor here for Karls. And a special project, for example, I got last year the update about our gamification and geocoin adventure and all the adventure labs with a nice meeting from Daniel.
Yes.
Now, as always, Josh, as well, people, if you do want to see this visually, you can, right, Josh? And you've got videos from when you actually went to Karls.
Yes,
How many videos do you have?
I visited 2 locations
Yeah.
of the Karls. And Eric, what could you remind us which location that you're located at?
So our main office, it's also the place where our strawberry fields are, because we are also the biggest strawberry producent. I'm sorry, my English is not so good. For whole Germany. So we are here at the Baltic Sea. It's Rövershagen near Rostock. So we also have a big harbor. And we have 2 locations with geocaching at the moment. It's Rostock-Rövershagen here. It's our main park, but it's not the biggest one. The biggest one is near Berlin. And our smallest one is also getting a really nice geocaching adventure. I think it's like the biggest visible and visitable geocache in northern Germany. It's in Warnsdorf near Lübeck or Travemünde.
Nice. And for those Americans that are listening that do not know their German geography, you are up, and when you say Baltic Sea, you are up in the north part of Germany. So you spoke of the gamification of Karls, and I just would like to ask Daniel a little bit about his impressions on the Adventure Lab format. Why is it great for what you do, Daniel, and how have you been utilizing this gamification?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really glad about the Geocaching Adventure Lab development because it gives us a lot of opportunities. We are creating marketing geocaches for years now, and Adventure Labs actually allow us to go inside buildings or inside company grounds, which is, as any geocacher might know, normally in a regular traditional geocaching is not possible because it would affect the commercial guideline. But with Adventure Labs we can pass this, which is really great because it gives us a lot of opportunities, especially at the place like Karls, where they are open for so many things and actually love details and are a very playable and enjoyable place to be even before we got there. now a little bit more enjoyable for geocaches, I would say. But with Adventure Labs we can pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
Even stuff that would not be possible in the traditional geocaching world. For example, we built that geocaching arcade game.
Yes.
It's placed inside. That would not be possible with a regular geocache, and you have to insert a coin, a Karls Taler, which would also not be publishable if it would be a regular geocache. So it gives us a lot of more opportunities, and we make sure that we use these opportunities a lot. I would say.
I did see that one as well. You can play that one virtually, like on your phone too. Josh mentioned as well, which is pretty cool.
Which
But
was
Eric,
much more difficult.
It really was, because I tried it. Honestly, I tried it here when I was sitting here watching Josh's video. I tried it. But Eric, so how long have you had these adventure labs in your stores now, and what sort of visitors or what sort of increase in foot traffic have you got from them?
So we started with on the I think it was end of March this year. So we are now operating them for April, May, June, July, August, for like 5 months. So we just have like a little bit of statistics, but we will wait for 6 months because it's also our main season in the summer. So Daniel has the task to do it at the starting of October or starting of November. We will see how it was running. Also to decide if we want to have more in our other locations, because we have 7 locations in all over Germany, and next year we'll open the next amusement park in Saxony, in Döbeln. So there are much more possibilities, and I'm also very interested not only Adventure Labs, also in the geo tours, because I'm dreaming of a
Yes.
geo tour of all over Germany with all the strawberry farms. But we already get feedback of the guests. So we see they're playing, we see they're asking questions. Sometimes something is missing. Sometimes somebody is cleaning something, and there's missing a sign. So, for example, our monster coin was missing a few days now, and we take it down and we make it a few fresh paint, for example. So yeah, it's a privilege, and it's very nice. Sometimes people coming and speak English, for example. We have guests from Denmark, from Poland, for example. So it's a nice additional, and you don't need any space, for example. So it's an additional play for our fans. I really want to know how many players here are like first Adventure Lab gear. So how many people see it at our place and then downloading the geocaching, the Adventure Lab app. This will be very interesting. So I'm very open and waiting for Daniel's statistics in 2 months to see what was happening in the last 6 months or 7 months.
I just took a quick look in the statistics, and it's quite easy to figure that out. In Warnsdorf, we had by now 538 players,
Wow.
which is a smaller park. I would have thought that the Adventure Labs at the bigger park at Rövershagen get way more played, but they have like only 400 players each, which is also an amazing number. But the smaller park has even more visitors.
But Josh,
Interesting.
I was thinking as well that as these people are playing inside your store, they're spending longer time in the store as well whilst they're playing, especially if the things are hard to look for. I mean, there was one stage when I was editing one of Josh's videos, there was one stage where he didn't actually find the name or whatever it was, the clue before. He had to ask someone. He told me later, but I saw it in the video and I zoomed in on it for him. He's like, oh, that's where it was. I didn't even see it. So people actually can spend longer time in the store, therefore, obviously for better business as well. But that's amazing stats, Daniel. Very good.
What's one difficult for us is, or one challenge, because we have very empty times and we have very crowded times. So that was also a very big task to make it like playable enough for both time zones, for example, to don't change it in the year. And we also developed it especially for our guests. They are here for multiple days. So we have multiple day guests. We have a first hotel. We have some guest rooms, for example. So and it's like Rövershagen, our main facility, is also like our rehearsal room, because our biggest facility in Elstal is getting bigger. In 2 years we will open there our first hotel. So we're always trying to do what our boundaries, what we can do, how big can we go. So it's also like for us a test of Adventure Labs, and I think there will be more. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed to figure that out, and to work with Karls is really nice to I love to work with customers, with clients who have great openness for creativity, and this is absolutely the case at Karls. That's why I'm really looking forward for to do more at the other parks. Would be great fit. Yeah.
That's what was so amazing about the Karls Adventure Lab experience and Geo Tour is it's just a location just filled with fun and opportunities for creativity, which was just my mind was blown. And one of the things that listeners need to be aware of is that the Adventure Lab format, if they're out there playing in the world, most are virtual stages. There's nothing physical necessarily. Well, there's something physical, but it's something that's already been established. But what's so amazing about what you have done, Daniel and Eric, is you guys have created some physical stages that are actually designed for the adventure. And so I would just love for you to talk about some examples, some of your favorite things that you have put into Karls, some of the creative ideas that you have created through the Adventure Lab format.
Eric, would you like to start? Which are your most favorite stages at the on the Adventure Labs?
I really love. Also, I think it's important to explain that we have two ones in Rövershagen in our main facility because one is completely free, and one is like paid because we have attractions we have to pay, and so they're inside of attractions. So it's a little bit.
Yes.
We played with the rules, so it's like when you want to have to play, there's a disclaimer, and so but we also make one totally free because we also amusement park with no entry. We are open for every family, so we have no entry. We are completely free to visit, so this is really important to know. And so in one of the paid ones, we have it's two like because it's also one of my most beloved places. It's one of the aquarium. We have an aquarium all about the Baltic Sea and the rivers, and there is one room with a sunken truck, a car. So and there we put on a sign. What's the name? The car sign. So I don't know what's the English
A
word for
plate,
it.
a license plate.
A license plate.
Yes.
And this is a special code for the geocachers, for example. And it's also a joke to our history of Karls, for example. And we are honoring a former member of the Karls family with it, for example. So and another one is it's signal in a very special kind of frozen water. So it's we had an ice world here with it's minus 10 degree, and we have a special code there also in the Adventure Lab to collect, and it's a fishing signal in a fairy tale waiting for the princess to come to kiss him and make him to a princess, to a prince.
Yeah, I like.
For those
Yeah.
that don't know who Signal is, because some of the people that listen to this podcast aren't geocachers, he is the mascot for geocaching, and it's amazing. You can see it on the video. I was blown away when I saw Signal in ice.
Yes, you have to check
And
out the
for
video.
those Americans listening as well, Eric just said minus 10 degrees. He was talking Celsius, which is actually 14 Fahrenheit. So there you go.
It's pretty damn cold there. Yeah.
It's an ice world.
It's funny though, Daniel.
It's an ice world.
Daniel, in the video, there's coats that you can
Yeah.
wear to go in there. And he was like, "You need a coat?" And I was like, "Daniel, you don't understand where I'm from. That 14 degrees is nothing."
Yeah.
And again, Josh, when I edit this video, I always talk to Josh. Daniel, I think this is the first time we've actually spoken. Yeah. So when I was talking to Josh about the edit, and I saw that part, and it's your dry humor for me that really gets me and really tickles my fancy. Like when Josh said, like, you know, oh, I don't edit from Minnesota, you just turn around just plainly and say to him something like, you know, oh, that's okay, I'll just take your camera when you die. That's not a problem. Like, you know, when you freeze to death, I'll take your camera.
Yeah.
I have a hot wine for you, so there's something coming for you.
Yes, I
can
did see that
freeze
as
you
well.
up.
So Daniel, what's your favorites then in
Actually,
Karls?
I wanted to mention the sunken truck too, because the way this license plate was attached to the truck, that was really special, because they have their own diver at Karls, and the guy went downstairs in the water, and I pictured it how he made it. It was so amazing to see how that worked. That was Wow. Yeah, that was pretty special. I never saw a geocaching stage anywhere attached like this. That was really cool.
Yes. And Daniel has sent me the video of that. Craig, you haven't even seen it.
No,
I didn't
no.
send it to you. He sent me the video of the guy scuba diving, setting up that stage. And I think what would be nice if I could get Daniel's permission, I think it'd be awesome to show that to our patrons.
I guess so. Yeah.
Is that okay?
And the scuba diver, I asked him to if that would be okay to for him to be on a video. He said yes. So I think.
So
Fantastic.
Josh, would that be
There you go.
an underwater?
Eric.
It's an underwater stage that
Yes.
you can actually still breathe.
It's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
There you go. If you talk about because there are geocaches and stages underwater, this would be an underwater stage.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And what I also like in the main shopping area, there's a small railroad going upstairs in the ceiling, and there are all these signs with what is manufactured at Karls, and we attached a special sign with the solution on it. It says geocaching manufactory, something like that, and you just have to stand there and wait until it appears. And that's so cool. I really like that stage too. And I like the Karls has its own radio station, broadcast station. They have it in the park, and they have a host. I think Eric is sitting there right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
this is the host. This is so-called Wetter Werner. This is his artist name, and we made a minifigure of him. And you can call him. You should call him, and he will tell you the solution for the Adventure Lab on the phone. It's in Anrufbeantworter, answering machine. Yeah, this is also really cool because a lot of players can actually see the radio station host doing his work because the studio is built in the park, in the shop, and it has there you can see Eric sitting in it.
So this is the audio medium,
podcast.
So Eric is in an official studio. DJ,
Radio studio, yeah.
radio studio, and there's a window, and there's customers watching him right now, I'm sure, thinking that he's probably on Karl's radio when he's in fact on our podcast.
And his microphone actually plugged in. I'm not even sure. Like, but Eric, are you getting people walking past you now, waving or knocking on the window at all? Like, yeah.
Germans are respectful. I don't know what's happening in America or somewhere else, but they're just like sitting there and they're just walking by. Sometimes they're taking pictures, of course, but sometimes they have like fans, so they have questions. But I closed the door. I locked the door also, so it's okay. So, but I know from better that sometimes people. So there are also people coming into when he making interviews or podcasts or so. So it happenings everything, but in the most cases he is. Alone, but still not alone because it's a glass window and it's a really big one. So, and it's a geocaching adventure lab station. So come by.
Yes,
Josh, I was thinking before when you were talking about their favorite adventure labs. Now, I live through Josh, like in his videos, you see, so I can actually really visualize what we're talking about here. And Daniel, when you say things like, where you literally stand there, you don't know what you're waiting for. And you're standing there in the middle, and this merry-go-round is going around your head, basically. And when I'm talking merry-go-round, I'm talking it's a large conveyor belt style thing that shows signs above your head. You're just standing there waiting, and you don't know what you're waiting for, and then all of a sudden the penny drops because you see it, and there it is, and bam, you're like, oh, that's what I'm waiting for. Thank you very much. So yeah, I love those sort of styles as well, where you don't know what you're looking for. There's no actual question to be had. That's what I enjoy as well. So there's that one there, and I think there's another one very similar to it as well, where it's the same thing. Oh, when you go up the lift, that ride, and you're shooting things. You're shooting things, Josh. I remember that.
Yes.
You were with what was that girl's name again? You were with
Teddy,
yes, and
Teddy.
You were shooting rides left, right, and center, and your face, Josh. I'm telling you now, people didn't see it all. I saw all the video because I edited. most of your face is like, what the hell am I looking for? Like, and you're looking around, and you're bemused. Your face is like all questionable, and then all of a sudden you see it in your eyes before you actually say it, and there it is.
Yes.
So yeah, same sort of thing. I like those sort of styles as well. Daniel, have you got any? When you were talking about more coming up, have you got more ideas coming up like that sort of style, or are you going a different route, or which way are you going from here?
I don't know yet. I think we have to visit the other parks because we usually that's our working model. We go to a place, get inspired by what is taking place there already, what is already installed, what is the essence, the character of the place, and then we try to come up with stages that fit into that surrounding. That's the way we operate. But there are plenty of ideas stored in our creativity pool and also in our storage, like actually build things. And we have some ideas. Karls also has a nice hotel. We had the idea of making one room maybe into a geocaching or escape type of hotel room. That would be amazing. So
Wow,
that would be cool.
There are so many possibilities, and I'm pretty sure it will be really creative again.
Well, just touching on that with escape rooms as well, you kind of did make an escape room in one of them. In the actual, there was a big strawberry, Josh, that I saw you in.
Yes.
And you were in there with Daniel, and each time you solved one of the spots, you got a free strawberry. Well, you didn't. You paid for them, but you got fed. You got fed from Tammy a strawberry for each successful time.
I think that only happened because I was a special guest. I don't think that that was a unique experience, just unique to me, I believe.
Oh, okay, okay.
But one of the most amazing things about Karls is that every location is pretty different, actually, which is very different than per se Disneyland, Disney World, Six Flags, where they just kind of duplicate everything over and over again, and the amount of creativity that goes into just Karls, the theme park in itself. I'm really curious, Eric. I think for our listeners, because this is a travel podcast, could you tell us just a brief history of Karls and what it was? You mentioned it started as a strawberry sort of farm, but it produces lots of strawberry products for the whole country, maybe even Europe. But Eric, could you just tell me a little bit more about Karls in itself?
Yes, of course. I try to make it short as possible. So we have on our sign, in our signature logo, we have Karls 1921. So this was the first harvest of Opa, grandfather Karls. So the grandfather of Robert Dahl is named Karl, and he has the first potatoes here in Rostock, and he was a potato and veggie farmer. Then they moved a few times through Germany, so we have different locations because of the family history. And Robert founded his own strawberry farm in 1993, so 30 years ago now, in Rövershagen by Rostock, near Rostock. And he was before he was in Poland to learn Polish, for example. So and he started to have his own strawberry farm. And he quote because he was a whiskey guy sometimes, and he started to sell some strawberries directly on the farm. He made a playground for kids. He sells some strawberry cake. So and it's getting better, bigger and bigger. Then he met his wife Stephanie, is also part of the Karls family, and she had expertise in marketing and in shopping. So they start like a farmer's shop here also, and it's getting better. Then they opened the whole year, and 30 years later, this place is a amusement park because sometimes in some kind of the history he discovered in a newspaper a picture of a tractor ride in a family park in Austria, and they directly visited. Like 2 days later he was in Austria, visited, and he just come by the street and he was, I want it. It's not it's expensive. Not important. I want it. And before this, everything was completely free, also the playgrounds. And this was the first ride to cost €2 per rider. So like on a expo, or what do you call it, in a state fair, at a state fair, for example, €2 for the ride, and it was totally okay because the entry was free. You have great playgrounds, and we try to have this feeling until now. So we are amusement park. The biggest facility is Elstal near Berlin. So I hope we will have geocaches also there next year. I press my thumbs. And so it's a family adventure place, and we try to make some history of the locations because we have now 7 locations, and the eighth one is coming next year. And so we have special attractions every place. For example, in Elstal, we tell the story about the first potatoes from like 100 years ago, because there we have a typical German potato roller coaster, and you are the potato, and you're riding a roller coaster, and you discover all the history of the family Dahl. Yes, so this is a short history of our getting from a potato to a strawberry farm to a amusement park with now 13 operating roller coasters in all locations. For example, 13.
Wow.
Fantastic. Well, Eric, you said 1993, and for those of us, most of us listening especially, you go, "Oh, that wasn't that far ago." Then you say 30 years ago, so it's 30 years. But Eric, what I love as well is how you don't just sell strawberries, as Josh said before. You sell different strawberry products. Now, I for one, I love my beer and Untapped, and you have a strawberry beer.
Oh, it's so good too. I had a couple.
Yeah, we have different kinds, and we are all with a special company. We are on a mixture to make with our strawberries real beer, but it's not real beer in Germany because you have this Reinheitsgebot. I think everybody in America know this word also. So we have different kinds of beer. We have sweet beer, we have dark beer, we have brown beer, for example. So we have different kinds of strawberry beer because in Germany it's difficult to call it. But there's also one Adventure Lab station about future Karls beer. So there's also some jokes in the Adventure Lab about our products. And yes, we have over 10,000 products, and over 1,000 of them are with Karls strawberry ingredients. Yes.
Wow. So, Josh, you said you partook in a beer. What else? What other products did you have, Josh, when you were there?
Oh, I saw the jam. The jam was so good. I had as you saw in the video, I had so many strawberries. But to be honest with you, like I was so busy having fun with all the adventure labs. There are so many stages there that I honestly did not have a lot of time to eat. But they had Eric
The pancakes.
treated us to an
Pancakes.
incredible breakfast.
And the,
Eggs, yeah.
and the pancakes. Don't forget the pancakes.
Yes, pancakes. Yeah, their breakfast. Oh, so good. I mean, this place really has everything. It's really an experience. If you go to Karls, you need to spend the whole day there. It's not a you could drop in, but there's so much to experience, so much to see, especially at the larger location where Eric is right now with the DJ studio.
You can go and see Eric in. No, you won't be able to see Eric. He doesn't do normally DJ, does he?
Normally we will see a veteran with his own station, but I'm just one corner around in the office building. But yes, you can see here how our jam is made. We make chocolate here. We are burning coffee. So we're making gems, I would say, but it's bonbons. What's English for jellies? So popcorn,
Candies.
candies. We're making ice cream here by ourselves. So it's a family wonderland.
amazing.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It is. It's like a Willy Wonka strawberry factory.
Strawberry Wonka.
I know we're bouncing around here, but I was just I since we do have Daniel on here, and we're talking about Adventure Labs, gamifying your travel. Daniel, could you share with us some of the other projects? You've worked with different cities, some of the different other kinds of Adventure Labs that you've put together, and some of those locations.
Sure. You and me, we did quite a few of them so far. We had an amazing tour. What was it? Was it April this year? Yeah. We were mostly in south of Germany, and there we had one geo tour. It's called Discover Your District. That was the Regensburg tour with all the castles and the lake where one of us unfortunately had to jump in to figure out the solution. That was fun.
It's
Yeah, it was
cold.
really
Very cold.
But yeah, I lost. So
That was his excuse anyway.
then we had the one geo tour in Wiesbaden for the water company, and it was about water education and the circle of drinking water, which was also really interesting, in my opinion. Then last year we have been to Bremerhaven. There's a tour about aqua biology and stuff that could be made from what is Algs, all of I don't know the English term. Alga, yeah, algae, right.
Algae.
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 Yeah,
Algae.
Algae in Australia,
In
got it.
algae in the
the
US.
Baltic Sea, it's seaweed.
okay.
We always say seaweed.
So there's a whole adventure lab
Seaweed, there you
about
go, yeah.
the use of algae or seaweed, which is very educational. So we have different kind of approaches from our customers. Some of them just want to attract people, just want to attract geocachers to come there, spend some time there, maybe spend some money there, which might be mostly the case for our customer Globetrotter, which is a huge outdoor supplier here in Germany, the biggest one. And we equipped all of their stores, 20 by now, with geocaching adventure labs, which is a perfect fit because geocachers love everything that you can buy there. Trekking shoes, flashlights, tents, stuff like that. And we bring geocachers there and they spend an average like 2 hours on their store, and barely any one of them leaves the store without buying anything. Plus there's a geocoin if you purchase for more than €100. It's a free geocoin, which is only available there. So that's a great fit.
I did see that video of yours, Josh, as well. But going back to Daniel, is it St. Vendel? St. Vendel. That
St. Vendel. Oh,
St.
yeah.
Vendel for me, and watching Josh's video as well. You even organised for the local media. Like this is how much the towns love adventure labs, and they love you, and they love the tourism. Is that they organise you organise the local media itself. We're talking media. We're talking television. We're talking print media. We're talking photography. We're talking all different types of media. And I still remember seeing a few videos and snippets of Josh there, and he had an interpreter and everything as well, so it was great. So tell us about that, like in terms of St. Vendel especially, because I find that they, only going through Josh's eyes, I find that St. Vendel really, really did encompass what Adventure Labs do for the actual town.
Yeah, St. Vendel is really special because it's a small town in the state of Saarland, which is one of the smallest states of Germany. So a small town in a small state. And they didn't have enough space to create the minimum amount of geocaches you need to build a geotour. So what we did is we created an adventure lab, which is really special because the adventure lab is a wagon, and you pull it through the city from statue to statue and from monument to monument, and the monument interferes. You have to interact.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. You have to bring the wagon there, and then you can only solve the next task if you. If you interact the wagon with the monument, which is really special. And I think this is now the most visible sightseeing thing in the city because it also creates a lot of noise.
Because there's cobblestone streets that you're pulling this thing on.
Yeah. So people are there now pulling that cart through the streets for more than a year now. And I think they pretty much annoyed everyone who lives there, but at the same time amazed them because they see how many people go there on a daily basis. And it's such a big thing for them that they organized the biggest press conference I have ever taken part of.
It was fascinating meeting their mayor, the mayor of St. Vendel. Great guy. And Greg, you know what makes him so great? The mayor of St. Vendel.
What, that he spoke to you?
He's just proud of his town.
He's
proud of his town, and he's proud of his geocache.
Yeah.
Daniel and Eric, if you don't know, Josh must say that in every single episode at some point. It's a term,
but he's right.
It's a movie quote that he really enjoys. So yeah, but Daniel, going back to
where's that quote from?
Planes, Trains,
movie?
and Automobiles. Yeah, that movie.
Planes, trains, automobiles, and now carts as well. So when you this cart thing that you're talking about, Daniel, you do have to make an appointment to do it because there's only one card. So
Yeah.
you do have to make an appointment.
That's right.
But if you pay extra, can they have you as the pulling of the cart like Josh did? So when watching the video, you were pulling the cart pretty much everywhere, and Josh was just doing his video thing the whole time, So can they
Yeah,
hire you
because-
personally? Is what I'm asking.
It's because of my physical appearance that made me it specialized me to fulfill this task. Yeah. It was a typical separation of work. Everyone has had his task.
Everybody has their
let's say.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I'm more like the car puller.
All right. I want to go back to Eric. Eric, what I learned about you is that you love roller coasters. And this podcast is about, location-based games guiding our travel, but roller coasters actually guide your travel. So I thought it would be interesting for our listeners to know a little bit about your roller coaster travels. Like geocachers, we check off boxes like found that cache, found that geocache, found that adventure lab. But you check off roller coasters that you have ridden. So I would love to hear a little bit about maybe your favorite roller coasters or your favorite places that roller coasters have brought you.
So, what's really important for me, I don't have one favorite roller coaster because I've ridden too much, and it depends on sometimes I want to have really big thrills, and sometimes it's a family coaster like in Disney World or something like this. So, at the moment, just to give your the listeners a feeling, I rode 1,391 different roller coasters in 22 countries and in 377 parks. So,
What?
yes, so this
That's
are my
unbelievable.
statistics.
Wow.
It's like geocaching. There's a map.
He's got an
Yes.
app. There's an app. There's an app for how many roller coasters.
Is there?
Eric, I'm
Is
sure
there an
is.
app for it?
Yeah, look, he's showing us an app. There's
Wow.
an app for the actual roller coasters. roller coaster
Unbelievable.
adventure app.
There's an app for everything.
Eric, have you done any in Six Flags? And I say that because my wife, she works
I
for
wish-
Six Flags. So is there any...
This is my America card. Do you see it? Oh, it's difficult for the podcast
what-
people. I'm sorry.
Look at that,
I'm
Josh.
sorry.
There's a map.
So you can see I traveled 4 times to America. I make once,
Wow.
2 times in the middle of America, once from Texas to north, from
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. One I was in California, and once to around New York, Boston, Washington, this corner. So and a 5th time I was in Florida, of course, theme park capital, of course. I have to visit Universal. So there's no special roller coaster, but there are so many great out there. I also enjoy the small ones, and what I really love about my hobby, because it's my hobby and now also my passion for my working here, it's that you really, really see the world, because parks are not on big cities, not sometimes, of course, but you have to go into the land, for example. For example, I had my best meat in Texas. When we had our parks in Texas, for example, the food was so good. I was so impressed. In Houston, I also visited the Space Center, for example. So I love to discover roller coasters all over the world, because you come to corners where real people living. There's no other people making holidays. You're staying in normal hotels for business people, for example. So and it's
Yeah.
I can see the world. For example, my next trip's going to Ecuador and Colombia, for example. After it, I'm going to Indonesia and to Taiwan. So it's just a perfect hobby to make visiting the world, discover new places, and have goals. And you have a goal to go somewhere. Yes.
So, Josh, I'm just thinking, Eric, you utilize your travels for these roller coasters really for business purposes, because you're bringing back the ideas. So are they business trips for you? Like, they're actually tax write-offs? Josh, that's not a bad idea.
Wow.
I'm getting some ideas now. No, Eric, very good. Just to let the listeners know as well, Eric showed the phone screen before. Now, if you're a geocacher, adventure lab player, whatever, on this screen itself on this app is a map, an actual real map, and they had pinpoints on the map, Josh, of what each roller coaster, and then obviously they change color when he actually ticks them off and he does them as well. So it's like, again, it's a different gamify of travel.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. I
Gamifies
like
his
it.
travel.
I can show you
Yes.
some part of America, you know. This is the place with open credits, and the black ones are counts I don't count because they're roller coasters that I don't classify as roller coasters. So there are crease zones, for example. So to explain, I have just now a map of America. So there are blue points for places I visited already, and there are places with new coasters. So yeah, and yes, just travel and discover the world. And ride roller coasters. They are making
Wow.
fun. They are open your bones. They are good for your heart and for your hormones. So
Very good. All right, just wrapping this up in that case then. Daniel, you go first. Let us know how can people contact you if they need to contact you for business purposes, etc., or if they want, when you said your cache Horizon as well, how can they actually go ahead and contact you from here?
We're pretty much present on all social media. You can reach us on Instagram, most and foremost. We are on TikTok. We are on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn. Whatever you prefer. You look for Geheimpunkt, or you look for Cache Reisen, or you just look for my name, which is Daniel Pflieger, which might be a little bit hard to pronounce or to spell for American folks, but I'm pretty sure you will find me. And I think we can include some links in the show notes, right?
Absolutely. I was going to say that because I say that every time as well. The links in the show notes.
Okay, so there will be links in the show notes. Sorry to
There
take
you
this from
go.
you.
And Eric, what about yourself? Any final words about your farms and your parks, etc.?
So I just hope that we will have the chance to make more adventure labs and geocaches in our places, because I think it's really good also for businesses to increase your visitors, for example, and just speak to different. I want to say nerdy groups sometimes because I also a roller coaster nerd, for example. So it's a great opportunity, and I just want to say personally, just travel the world. So if you come to Germany, try to make one day free for one of our locations. We are now in like we have like three. So we are on 1/3 of the country. So there's a good chance you can visit us in the north of Berlin, and you can always combine your visit with our place with other geocaches all the world. Because Daniel told me that Germany is like the biggest geocaching community of the world. So I think you have found everywhere something to cache and to collect, and just have a good time at Karls. And of course, in the show notes you will get some links to our YouTube channel, to all to our sites. But yes, I'm happy to and you. I can see you. I invite you because it's free entry.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
and because it's free entry as well, I did see just going back quickly on Josh's video that you can actually host a geocaching event in your store, eatery, etc. I saw that as well. Yeah, Josh, you had an event inside Karls.
Yeah, we had
That
an
was pretty
event,
cool.
and it was a great time. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and I'm excited again to visit Germany. Daniel, maybe
Yeah.
for the 5th time, so I can visit more Karls amusement parks.
Yeah, sure.
And me for the first. I haven't been to Germany
Yeah,
yet. I haven't been to
Yeah.
and
Germany.
Craig could come too.
Come
Yeah,
over. Then you
I could
can.
bring Craig instead of my wife this next time.
Yes, yes.
I said that too loud. I said that too loud.
Or you bring them both, your work wife and Tammy.
Yes. Perfect.
I'm the work wife now.
I don't
like it.
know.
I like it. Thanks again, guys.
Those are some fun dudes to hang out with.
I'm your work wife.
Well,
Can you believe that?
I guess according to Daniel, you might be. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows, Josh? Who knows? Oh man, I tell you what, I would love to go over to Germany someday. 100%. Like you know, watching your videos, Josh, and then listening to Daniel and to Eric as well, and how they are proud there, but they're so Daniel especially, he loves it.
Yeah.
He really loves what he does.
Yeah, he's really
so-
he has a great imagination, and
Mhm.
he also has just a great team of people putting this together. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Daniel's the mover and the shaker. He makes things happen, but he has a team of people that make this happen and create some of these amazing Adventure Lab geocaches.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and as rightly so as well. Anyone out there who's a good manager of people and has good ideas, if they have a team of good people underneath them, then of course they're going to build a great empire, and that's what he's doing. So,
Yes.
good work, Daniel. Good work, mate. But Josh, let's get back to these adventure labs.
Yes, because they
Yeah.
truly are a tour guide for you,
Mhm.
and they're all over the world. I don't know how many there are. I mean, it's in the hundreds of thousands, I
Yeah.
believe, of different stages, different locations that these things are.
Hmm.
They're in small towns, they're in big towns, they're in medium-sized towns. Anywhere
Hmm.
where there's something interesting to see, they're there.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, we have found some together. We,
Yes,
we
we have
we remember when
a
we
few
found the
together.
one that was in Abraham Lincoln's birthplace in
Mm.
that town right
That's right.
outside his birthplace,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
learned a lot more about Abraham Lincoln, and that was like actually a surprise. We didn't
Hmm.
plan that, but when we got in that town, we were like, we need to get something to eat, and and we're
Yep.
like, there's an adventure lab here with a cool
Let's.
statue and a
Yeah.
lot to learn about Abraham Lincoln that I didn't know.
Yeah, that's right. We went around that we call them roundabouts. I think you call them traffic circles here.
Yes.
We went around that roundabout there, and there was the big monument in the beginning, in the middle of it, with him sitting on the big chair, and yeah, that was. And again, that's one of those things, Josh, that this show's all about, and that is the small towns of the US, and that's their highlight. Like, let's be honest, that town wasn't very big at
Oh
all.
no.
That was the major intersection of that town, and there was one intersection in the town, no traffic lights at all,
Yeah.
and yet here is this big statue monument of Abraham Lincoln right in the middle with American flags on each side, and the bald eagle, portraits around. It was really cool. So yeah,
I recall that I don't think we would have stopped there unless we saw that there was an adventure lab there.
true,
Because
true.
we
We
were
was
making decisions because we were like, should we just go
yeah,
back into Louisville where there would have been a lot of options to eat? But we're like, no,
that's right,
let's check out this adventure lab. And I think we actually then did spend some time there.
exactly right, and that's what it's all about. So that's what this little show's all about. But what other ones have you done personally though that you've actually quite enjoyed? Has there been a few that stand out in your mind?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones was in Woodstock, Illinois,
Mm.
and that is the shooting location for the movie Groundhog Day.
Oh yes,
Groundhog Day.
you did a video on that one as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a oh my gosh, it's got to go
That's
in
a
the
good
show
video.
notes. It is
100%. That's a good
It's
video.
one
that
of my
one.
better videos. Yes, because if
And you
you
edit it yourself.
I did. And the thing it's so good is that it's very much Groundhog Day movie themed, and that's the
Mm.
things. I'll just say this: I end up doing that adventure lab many, 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 many times over.
Although in real life, let's be honest, you can
Mhm.
only do an adventure lab once.
Right.
You can't do it more than once.
Unless
So
you get stuck in a time loop.
it's not munzee, Josh. You can't keep capping the same ones all the time. So, but yeah,
So
so that's really cool.
yeah, so the Groundhog Day, there's several movie locations. So there's a 5-stager that has
Mhm.
a real cache at the end.
Hmm.
And then I decided I got an Adventure Lab credit because geocachers, I don't know, we didn't talk about this. They are the ones that are creating these. So I
Yeah,
created
yeah.
another stage with 5 more movie locations of Groundhog Day to add on to the 5 that were already there.
Oh, that's cool.
It-
That's really
yeah,
cool.
so it's I just love movie locations. It's so fun.
Mm,
So that was a
yeah.
perfect one for an
I
Adventure
did say
Lab.
in the beginning. I did say in the beginning of the podcast, Josh. I said about these adventure labs are placed not by a business; they're placed by other players.
Yeah.
So, and that's why some are not so, like, some are okay, but some are really really good. So
Yeah.
they all vary.
We didn't mention that in the interview, but like
No.
with Daniel has special sponsored adventure labs that allow
Yes.
him to be able to put them in businesses. He has a financial relationship with Geocaching HQ to make
Yeah.
that happen. So, and
That's
that
right.
also
We
includes
can't
being
do
able
that.
to have physical stages. So, and that's what makes
Yes,
those
yeah.
so special, and that's why we wanted to talk to him. But
Exactly.
usually they're already established locations that you just get
Yeah, like
information from.
the average geocacher hider, you, myself, we can't do those sort of adventure labs.
Right.
They're not allowed.
Yep.
But there are rules and regulations.
What about you, Craig? What was one of yours?
Well, one of mine I actually really enjoy is actually one of mine as well. So in New Jersey here, along the Jersey Shore. Now we all know the Jersey Shore. Well, all Americans should know the Jersey Shore, like that TV show
Yes.
back in the day, back in the 90s, I
Uh-huh.
think it was. And so what I've done though, because these are all actual video locations.
Yes.
But the locations that it puts you in, I have a video of exactly what was filmed at that location. So you can watch the video and then look up from your phone and
Oh.
see the buildings that it's in front of and behind, that sort of thing.
That's so
And
cool.
and then after you watch the video, you have to answer a question about the video. So it might say, you know, what does Snooki say when she picks up the phone or whatever, you know, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So so that sort of thing. So yeah, it's got mixed reviews, Josh. It's got mixed reviews. Some people love it because they love the idea behind it, but a lot of actual New Jersey players don't like it because they hate Jersey Shore. So
That's funny. And
it's
that, you know,
mixed.
that's really interesting. There's so many different kinds of adventure labs. That's really
Mm,
interesting with that you're utilizing video. And for those that are not familiar with adventure labs, you know what makes it possible to answer the question is that you have to actually be there, because you know
yeah,
you could open it up and watch a video, right? But you can't
yeah,
answer it
yeah.
unless you're there, because
Unless
it
you're
is
there,
a
and that's called
location based game.
That's right, and that's called geofencing as
Yes.
well. They've named it geofencing, and geofences can be quite large or they can be quite small. They've reduced them down recently. Um, I remember. What about the airports? There's a lot
Yes.
of adventure labs in airports, Josh, as well. I
Yes.
think we've got to talk about those. And I was so with the new thing with HQ,
Hmm.
they've said to reduce them all down in the terms of the size.
Hmm.
Now I've got an airport set, right? It's down in Miami
Yeah.
Airport. And so I've like, oh no, I have to reduce it. So I moved all the pins
Hmm.
to the front area near the customs, you know, so you can get it from either side, but you have to be near the
Yeah.
customs either way. And I reduced all the fencing down. Well, I did that on my own back so I wouldn't get, you know, dismissed or
Yep.
wouldn't be removed from HQ. Then headquarters turned around and said, "Oh, we're going to leave the ones that are already there like they are."
Oh no.
After I moved them, I'm like,
They
"Oh
changed it.
no!" So they changed it. So they sort of grandfathered
Yeah.
them in for those geofences. So I was
Yeah.
like, "No!" So
Yeah, there is some controversy because, you know, a lot of the airport ones you can answer just from the plane, because the geofence is so huge. And,
yep,
you know,
yep,
usually it's like information about what is the name of their sports teams and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I think those are great for, this is my personal opinion, I think those are great for
hmm
geocachers to give
yeah,
them
yeah,
something to do when
hmm
they're in an airport, right? And they can't,
yep, yeah,
you know, get out, especially on a layover. But to
yeah,
me, when it comes to this topic, especially of gamifying your travel, it
hmm
isn't really the spirit of the game. Meaning that
yeah,
I do like the idea of going to an actual location and getting the information at the location. You
yeah.
don't really learn anything by just, you know,
Multiple choice.
answering a multiple choice, answering a
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
But
that's
so
right.
if I'm a person that just loves the enjoyment of the locations, I would be really confused by an airport one. I'd be like,
Mm.
well, what's the point?
What's the point of that?
Right.
And that's the thing as well. If you're only playing adventure labs, you don't have the
Yeah,
statistics, the numbers up. You know that more relates to geocaches. You
exactly.
know, because it's on your geocaching account. So in that's the case as well. We can talk about the ones that are actually in they call them like adventure lab art or geo art.
Yeah.
You know, those ones where there's, you know, a whole pile of them. And there's ones here in New Jersey as well. And there's a whole pile of them. I'm talking, you know, maybe 50 sets of 5 each. So there's 250. 250, and you can find them all in one location. You can park your car at the rest stop and just answer, and just do it quick. You don't even have to read it. Just click next, and you're just guessing multiple choice the
Right.
whole time through. You can get 250 finds within an hour.
Yeah. Again.
Within an hour, and to me, that's not really.
Yeah. But again, that's for geocachers. If
And
you're
and I
a
was gonna
person
say,
that does this because does the adventure labs because they want to learn something or
mm-hmm,
gamify their travel,
mm-hmm,
then that's probably not going to be very
yes,
appealing, especially if
no.
they're located out in the middle of a field or something.
Exactly. It's not appealing at all. However, did I still do them? Yes, I did. I
Because you're a
wanted the numbers.
geocacher.
Like, yeah, that's right. I still want the numbers. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. So, yeah, there's those sorts as well. What other ones have you got another set out at all?
Yeah, I actually have the very first one ever placed in Minnesota. I was the
Oh,
first
really?
person in my state, other than the ones that were like temporary ones at events
Yeah,
before they released
yeah.
it. I got the very first credit in Minnesota, and when I was thinking, okay, Minnesota, I could do anything, right? And I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah.
like, I was just like, what is Minnesota known for? And I thought, first thing I thought of was Prince,
Oh,
the
geez.
art
See,
or the
you've
artist
gone
formerly known as Prince. Prince,
formerly known as
yeah,
Prince. Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, he changed it back to Prince. But yeah,
yeah.
if you don't know from Minneapolis, Prince is from here. This is his
Mm-hmm,
hometown, or was his
mm-hmm.
hometown before he passed. and
Yeah.
there's lots of beautiful murals of him. His home is
Right.
here. After he passed, there was just a ton of like. I'm hearing
What's
it.
that come? It's not coming up on the audio though.
I'm gonna put my phone in airplane mode, just in case.
That's right.
Okay, I'll start over.
There you go.
There's lots of.
Then,
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say after he died, you said apart from it.
There's lots of public art of him, and actually, this was before that you couldn't put physical stages. The whole thing ends with one of the stages. It ends with a purple ammo can with Prince's logo on the front of it.
Oh wow! Is that your ammo can? Is that
yeah,
your
it's mine. Actually,
cache?
Minnesota
Oh,
boy
that's cool.
Tim actually painted it. So
that's really cool.
He made it, and it's still out there, and it's awesome. But
Yeah.
Prince is a big deal, and I did the same thing. Because you could utilize video after somebody answered the question correctly. It took you of a video of me that I actually shot and edited, and it took me to another part of town that was like miles and miles away to share another Prince location because I only had 5 stages. So I wanted there were much more Prince locations throughout town. So the video unlocked when they answered it, and it took you to another part of town that was not as close as like where his house was. So I thought I did a great job. Some people think it's one of the better ones they found.
Yeah, well, no wonder you got so excited in one of our previous episodes on the School of Rock, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when you saw Prince there. I didn't realize it was so connected to you.
He's a legend here. Well, he's a legend anywhere.
That's really cool.
What about you?
Well, I recently did a new one, new for me, in Times Square, New York. And again, it's one of those ones, though, where you can literally stand in one spot and answer 5 questions and they're multiple choice. But what I like about those sort of style is that you're in the middle of New York City.
Yeah.
So your GPS is going to be bouncing around left, right, and center. So, you can't literally be in one place and next minute on the pin on the map it shows you in the next street. Sometimes that's what happens with big tall buildings around GPS locations and cities. So this one here had a nice wide open fencing, so I managed to sit there and I actually read through them as well. It was actually quite informational about the Times Square itself. But while I was there, I had the entertainment around me. I had this one guy there in one massive big gorilla suit, who's getting photos. I had the Marvel comics there or whatever. I even had the fake monks walking past me offering me beads. I'm like, no. And like those sort of things. So yeah, for me, that sort of thing there, it made me stop. You know what I mean? It made me actually stop and look down and then do what I had to do. At the same time, I was immersed in the atmosphere of Times Square. So that was a new one for me.
You make an interesting point because a lot of these adventure labs are places that you're going to visit anyway.
Yeah.
If you're going to a city, they're usually always at locations that people want to visit. Like when we went to Cleveland, the Christmas Story house, for example. Like you want to go there anywhere, and then it's just a bonus that there's some fun game to play while you're there.
Exactly. And if you do learn something from it, I mean, I can't remember exactly now because a lot's happened between then and now. But like it told me even like the weight of the ball, the big ball as it comes down every New Year's, it tells me different interesting facts about the different times and locations and dates and places. It's pretty cool. You still get to learn things. Not that I remember them, but anyway, you can still learn things from the adventure labs themselves.
Yeah. And speaking of learning about things, in Memphis, Tennessee, I did a really awesome one. It was at the National Civil Rights Museum on the outside of it. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but the outside of it is the Lorraine Hotel where MLK was assassinated. And you can on the outside of it is just so historic because there's a line on the ground of that follows the path of the bullet. And just all this like history and information on the outside. You're walking around that whole block and it's just like history about the assassination and how it like that all played out. And it's just fascinating. It was really, really neat.
I think you brought that up in episode 3 or 4 when we spoke about the places to go during spring break.
Yes, that's right.
So there we go. See, how's that from memory?
So good. If you want to hear more about that, you can go back to that episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Josh, what any others that you have at all that you can think of? Yeah.
I really enjoyed the one at Lambeau Field, which is the home of the Green Bay Packers. There's some amazing statues on the outside of it. Actually, at Lambeau Field, they have tours daily, and it's just really a fascinating stadium to tour. There's just
Mhm.
Green Bay is just, it's a small town with a big time team, and people really, there's people from all over the world that just love the Green Bay Packers because
Yep.
they're kind of
Yep.
like, I don't know, it's controversial. I was gonna say they're America's team, but isn't that the Dallas Cowboys?
That's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You ask my father-in-law, that's the
I
Cowboys.
know,
Yes,
but
that's his team.
the Midwest, I'm speaking kind of sacrilege because I'm in Minnesota Viking country. I am a Vikings fan, but Lambeau Field is epic, and there was an adventure
Right.
lab there, of course. And then
Yeah.
moving on, this is really amazing. Our friend Scott was organizing, I believe, hundreds of adventure lab stages
Oh,
on
yes.
Route 66.
Yes. Yes.
And someday, Craig, we need to, well, first travel some of Route 66. I've been on some of it.
I've done a few of those
Yeah.
already.
Oh, you
Yeah,
have?
yeah, yeah. I've done a few. Like in New Mexico, it was.
Yes, that's right.
I still remember. Yeah, doing those in New Mexico itself. There was a few of those on Route 66. Well, speaking of Route 66, because you're talking about them being what would you class it as? Like a series?
Yeah,
A series of adventure labs?
You could go weeks and travel Route 66 and can just do one of these after another and learn probably a
And
lot
just
and see a
keep
lot of
going.
fun things.
Exactly. Well, speaking of those routes or those, Adventure Lab tours, Nancy from the Deadliest Caches. Remember we spoke about her last episode?
Yes, she packed the
Yes.
snacks.
Yes, that's the
She
one.
packed the
Yeah,
snacks
exactly.
so I didn't starve when the internet went down.
That's the one. That's the one. Well, she sent us an email, Josh, after listening to our last episode.
Well, you remember, Craig,
Yeah.
we were like, please write us.
She
and
did.
She took us up on it.
She did.
Thankfully,
I'm not gonna-
somebody did.
Yeah. I'm not gonna read out the whole email because it is a lengthy email. And thank you so much, Nancy, for writing that, because I've spoken to Josh. I've told Josh all the email. Well, he's got a copy of it as well. So some great information. But Josh, I didn't even know this until she sent the email, and I don't think you do as well. But there's a place called the Erie Canal Adventure Lab Trail.
Wow.
So it's another trail, exactly like Route 66, and it talks about the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal Adventure Lab Trail is created in 2021. It spans 363 miles, which is the length of the Erie Canal from Buffalo to Albany. There are 69 uniquely designed adventure labs created by 51 storytellers. So 51 people placed 69 adventure lab series through there. So 69 times 5 locations each. So
that's a lot of locations.
Unique. Yeah. And I didn't realize that the Erie Canal itself is a very historic waterway. And it spans like across the New York state itself. It was built in 1817 and in 1825 to create a navigable water route from the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean. And upon the canal's completion, it was hailed as the greatest engineering accomplishment of its time back in the time, 1825. So there you go.
That's another one we have to visit.
Yeah. So she also sent me a link. She's got a web page, Josh, which it'll be the link for this web page is going to be in the show.
There's going to be a lot of show notes for this episode.
There always is. And look, let's be honest. The more links in the show notes, the better. Because I use the show note links myself in other podcasts. So.
Yes.
But she was telling me on her webpage, because she's got a blog as well, there's other Adventure Lab series out there.
These are all just great opportunities for road trips.
You're exactly right. Lincoln Highway, the Trans-Canada Highway, the John Hunt Morgan Trail in Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, the John Muir Way in Scotland, US 395, and the Freedom Trail Adventure in Boston itself.
Wow. So there's a lot of trails out there.
There's a lot of trails out there now, which is, and I find that the trails would be a lot better use of the adventure labs than what you see the artwork. You know what I mean? So I think, I like these ideas of the trail. So again, thank you so much to Nancy for reaching out to us, and thanks for that information. And the link to her webpage will be in the show notes.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
So to wrap up this conversation about gamifying your travel, it can add to your travel, it can guide your travel, and adventure labs are just a really interesting resource for you to check out. So if you're listening to this and you're like, gosh, these guys talk about geocaching a lot. I tried geocaching. I'm not really into it. Maybe you need to check out, it's called the Adventures app. So I think if you search in your app store, Adventures, geocaching, or adventures, I think you're going to find it.
Are you ready, Josh?
Sure.
Links for those for Apple Maps,
Easy.
Apple Maps for Apple and Google are in the show notes.
Perfect.
So links for the apps are in the show notes too. So
Perfect.
I've already done that.
Craig, we need to talk about our
Yes.
patrons, the people that keep
we
this
do.
thing going, and we just really, boy, do we appreciate them. And
Yeah, we do.
We thank everyone that has decided to support this podcast. It is a young podcast. What is this episode?
13.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13, exactly.
And we've just got a great group. We have over 13 patrons. That's pretty cool. We should try
That's
to
really
keep
cool.
our patrons number, like our growth should be, we should always have more patrons than we have episodes.
Yes,
Wouldn't that be
cool.
a good goal?
That would be really, really cool. That would be really good.
So if you are enjoying this podcast, we would really appreciate your support. And by supporting us, you're helping us create even better content, keep it free, and keep it going. So please consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/treasures of our town.
So, Josh, next episode, we've already got it in not in the bag yet, but ready to go. We're actually going to find out some secrets about Iowa.
Oh,
We chat to a local author in Iowa, and so that's pretty cool.
I'm really excited about this because guess what, Craig?
What's that?
I was born in Iowa.
That's right, you were too.
I'm an Iowa boy. Iowa corn-fed boy. I'm excited to talk to her. I just going to say a little preview. She's into roadside attractions and big things as well.
Yeah.
We love this. So
exactly.
We're excited.
So how can people find and reach out to us, Josh, just like Nancy did?
Yeah, feel free to reach out to us at treasuresofourtownpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, all our episodes are uploaded to YouTube.
So that's our show for today. Please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting app. And as always, Josh,
may your travels always lead you to the most unexpected and amazing hidden gems around the world, in Germany and beyond. We'll see you next time in Iowa.
Bye.
Is this heaven?
You never said
Iowa. Bye. I said bye.